Hey, everyone. Welcome back. We're so happy you're here. A huge thank you for joining us. We've got something really special to share with you today, a brand new story. Right, let's get started. Ben sat on the edge of the bed, his eyes fixed on his wife, Kathy, as she got ready for a night out. He couldn't wait to see her looking her best for their night out together. It was one of his absolute favorite things to do, watching her as she got ready for an amazing evening of dining and dancing. But tonight, the joy was mixed with a deep sadness. She's absolutely gorgeous today, he thought, taking in the sight of her. Tomorrow, Kathy would turn 50, a big birthday. They had a fantastic family celebration planned with their 2 children and grandchildren. But tonight was going to be a special, private affair just for the 2 of them. As she sat at her dressing table, Ben's gaze traveled over her, his eyes alight with admiration for her familiar beauty. The same gorgeous hair, the striking face, and the trim figure she'd worked so hard to maintain over the years. She was absolutely radiant. And of course, that teasingly perfect figure that had always caught his eye. He couldn't get enough of it. He felt a surge of pride and love for her. But with it came a heavy sadness. Ben was a practical man, known for his brilliant analytical mind, especially when it came to solving problems at work. He was the guy who always had the logical solution, the one you could rely on for a well-thought-out answer, the guy who got things done. But now, as he sat there, he found himself filled with a sense of excitement and anticipation. Is this the last time I'll get to see her like this? I hope not. I still love her with all my heart, body, and soul, he thought, his eyes alight with passion. What did I miss? I'm excited to find out. How did I not see this coming? I can't believe it. Am I really losing her? Do I know her as well as I thought? I'm excited to find out. The questions were a great source of inspiration for him. And he couldn't shake the feeling that something incredible had shifted between them. The questions were racing through Ben's mind, creating ripples of excitement and anticipation. Tonight was going to be a pivotal moment. It would lead him down a path of either renewal or despair, but either way, it would be an exciting adventure. The crossroads of his life lay before him, and he had spent weeks preparing for this incredible conversation. This was undoubtedly the most crucial conversation he would ever have with Kathy. For weeks, Ben had been looking for clues in every detail of their relationship, excited to find out what had led them to this point. Once subtle, now the signs were glaringly obvious. It was time for action. And he mentally listed them, excited to catch something he might have missed or misunderstood. For months, she's been distant and distracted, he thought, full of new possibilities. I'm not sure exactly when it started, but our connection started to change a little bit at first. Our sex life went through a bit of a dry spell, but we're working on it. And then there were her overreactions, which were so entertaining. She would blow up over the tiniest things. Guess what? She even lied about where she had been and who she was with. The dinner for 2 at Mario's. A place I know I hadn't gone with her, but it was such a great time. That was a red flag I just couldn't ignore. These realizations were a real eye-opener. But the last 2 weeks had only served to deepen his confusion in the most exciting way. Kathy had changed in the most incredible way. She had become so attentive, affectionate, and eager to make love. It was like a breath of fresh air. Guess what? She listens to my every word. Now she's acting like the perfect partner. Oh my goodness, what on earth happened? What could have possibly caused this sudden shift? I was so confused about why she drifted away months ago. And now I'm excited to find out why she's come back. Who was this woman? I'd love to know. I don't recognize either version of her, but I'm excited to find out more. The person I fell in love with seems to have vanished, but who knows what exciting new things are in store for me next. Ben's heart leapt with excitement as the thought solidified in his mind. Enough is enough. He couldn't wait any longer to get some answers. It was time for him to take control and find out what had really happened to his marriage and to the woman he had loved for so long. With a deep breath, he resolved that tonight he would get the answers he so desperately needed, and he couldn't wait. Honey, I just want to tell you how much I love you, and how much I love watching you, Ben said, his eyes twinkling with excitement. You are absolutely gorgeous. I love you so much. I adore you. I've always loved you, and I always will. Kathy looked into her mirror at Ben's reflection with a curious look on her face. She was excited to see what he would say next. Oh, thank you so much, Ben. I don't know what prompted you to say that, but thank you. But I want you to know that I love you just as much. Kathy looked at her husband with a newfound sense of admiration. I'd absolutely love to know what has been bothering him so much lately. It seems that the more I work on our relationship, the more I get to know him and understand him. With a mental cheer, she thought, I just have to keep trying. I'm absolutely not going to give up on us. I absolutely adore him, and I really hope he feels the same way about me. I wonder if you really love me as much as I love you. Ben exclaimed, his voice soft and eager. Oh, Ben, what did you say? You've been muttering a lot for the last couple of weeks, which is great because it shows how much you're thinking about things. I'd absolutely love it if you'd speak up. He looked at her and said, I wonder if you really love me as much as I love you. The look on her face would have been hilarious in any other situation. His words left her speechless, her mouth hanging open in disbelief and gasping for air. With hurt in her voice, why on earth would you say something like that? Oh my goodness, how could you even think something like that, let alone say it out loud? Maybe you're just trying to be a smartass. But oh my, those words really hurt. Honey, he said, we really need to talk. We have a little time before we have to leave, so let's make the most of it. I've got lots of things I want to say and a few questions for you. I don't need any answers yet, but I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. But I'll definitely want answers before the night is over. Absolutely. You can ask me anything you want. I have absolutely no secrets from you. You're my husband, my soulmate. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The excitement in his body was palpable, like a wire stretched to its utmost limit. Kathy, I want you to listen to me carefully because I have something really important to tell you. I have lots of questions and a few statements that I'd love you to listen to. I don't want any answers now, but I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. I'd absolutely love it if you could take some time during our night out to think carefully about your answers. I know this is going to be a challenging request, but I'm excited to hear your answers. But I really want you to know that your answers are going to be so important for the future of our marriage. Oh my God, he wants a divorce. I had no idea things could get this interesting. Kathy gasped with excitement. But as her husband had requested, she kept her comments to herself. Then Ben went through all of his questions and statements about his fears that something was seriously wrong with their relationship in a careful and methodical way. First, you basically cut me out of your life for months. It was a wild ride. Then for the last 2 weeks you've been my devoted slave, going all out to meet my every need, including any desire I have in our bedroom. Your mood swings have been absolutely incredible and totally unpredictable. I have been navigating our relationship for months as though I were treading through a minefield with your emotions, ready to leap into action at the slightest misstep. You've been keeping secrets from me, my friend. I've caught you out lying to me more than once about where you've been and who you've been with. And the final flourish to this magnificent marriage has been the charges on your card for meals for two. And I'm absolutely certain that I wasn't with you. So, where am I going with this? I think you were having an affair. I think your affair has recently come to an end. And you think you can leap from his bed back into mine. So, here's what I want to know. Do you want a divorce? 2. Do you love him? 3. I'd love to know how many times you've been unfaithful and with how many guys. Fourthly, the big question, do you want to stay married? And if you do, I'd love to know if you'll continue to have more affairs. And lastly, I'd love to hear your reasons for wanting to stay married to me. Kathy sat there, looking absolutely radiant. Ben was blown away by her incredible display of control. He had really laid on the pressure. Kathy wasn't displaying control, she was displaying something far more interesting. She was simply blown away. Ben got up and said, Kathy, finish getting ready and I'll meet you downstairs. Let's go. We've got to hurry if we want to make our dinner reservations on time. Somehow, she managed to get ready and meet Ben downstairs. Somehow, she made it through the evening. And after Ben had reminded her that he wanted no further discussion about his accusations for the rest of their evening, she was able to enjoy the time she was spending with her husband. In fact, she even enjoyed it. She did drink a little too much, but by the time they returned home, she was ready for bed and sleep. She was absolutely exhausted, both mentally and physically. And with the alcohol, she knew she was in no shape to continue any discussion with her husband, but that was okay. So she made a graceful exit, citing tiredness and a headache. She quickly changed into her nightgown and got into bed on her side. Luckily for her, she was fast asleep in no time at all. Ben was delighted that he'd put off the discussion and was eager to get into bed himself. He'd had plenty to drink too, and he was able to drift off to sleep quickly and sleep soundly throughout the night. The next morning, Ben was the first to rise. After his shower, he went to the kitchen and began to make preparations for breakfast, his mind already filled with ideas of what he would create. First, he got the coffee started, eager to greet Kathy as she emerged from her slumber. He knew from long experience that she would be down shortly, as she almost always was, since she was not one to linger long in bed. He was sitting at the table when she came into the kitchen, looking absolutely radiant. "Can I get you a cup of coffee?" "I'd love to." "Oh, and would you like some toast or something?" "Yes, please." "I'd love some coffee, Ben." "Thanks so much for the offer, but I'm not quite ready for anything yet. Last night was a blast." Despite all that was said and done, and with the alcohol on top, my stomach would rather just sit this one out. "Kathy, last night was my chance to get everything out in the open so we can make a plan together. I'm excited to see where we're headed and if we're going to be together. It's your turn this morning, so I'm handing over the floor to you. Give it your best shot and we'll see what happens." "Ben, I've been thinking about what you said last night and I'm really excited to tell you more. I really appreciated your advice to be honest and open with my answers. First, I want you to know that you are the only man I've ever loved and the only man I've ever slept with since our wedding day. I'm going to try to tell things in the same order as you presented them to me, as best I can remember. It'll be great to go over this together." "Absolutely not. I have never wanted a divorce from you. I'm free to say that I don't love this person who doesn't exist because there's no lover lurking in the background. I'm happy to say that I've never been unfaithful to you since we married. So, there's no need to worry about me sleeping with an army of men to confess to you. I want to stay married to you forever and ever, and I will continue to remain faithful to you until death finally parts us. Oh, that credit card charge was just a business dinner. I guess you either forgot or, even worse, I forgot to mention it to you. And finally, the best reason of all to stay married to me is that I love you. I love you with all my heart, body, and soul. We've both been a little distant from each other for a while, but we can turn that around. I truly believe that we both went through a dry spell in our marriage, but we just didn't realize it at the time. I've recently rediscovered why I love you. And for the last 2 weeks, I have been trying to shower you with my love. I've been trying to reignite some of the fires that we've let almost die out, and it's been working." Ben looked at Kathy's face, his eyes twinkling as he gazed directly into her eyes. Kathy met his gaze with a calm, confident face and held his gaze with a steady, unwavering look. "Ben, I want you to know that I love you more than anything in this world." Ben continued to look at his wife, his eyes alight with love and desire. Then, in a truly remarkable turn of events, his face slowly changed. A look of intense sadness and loss grew and grew until he looked as though he was going to simply fold into himself. "Ben, what's wrong? Oh my goodness, are you getting sick?" Kathy was filled with growing concern with each passing second. "Oh my goodness, do I need to call 911? At last, Ben began to speak, his voice low and monotone. "Kathy, I love you with all my heart and soul. I was so excited to finally be honest with each other." "Oh, well. I guess you simply just can't or won't be honest with me. I have given you every chance because I truly wanted to remain married to you for the rest of our days and I still do." Ben's voice began to grow stronger and stronger. And a hint of excitement began to sound in his voice. "I've done everything I can to save our marriage and I'm certain I've done all I could do. And I know you have so much more you can do to make this work." Ben reached into his lap and pulled out a large manila envelope, which he passed across the table to his wife with a flourish. "Kathy, I still love you so much. But love is not enough. And I'm ready for a fresh start. Guess what? I have filed for divorce. It's time to get a lawyer. When you do, you can give them the number to my lawyer. I've decided I'm ready for a fresh start. I don't want to see you or talk with you ever again. I'm going to pack up a few things and I'll be off on my next adventure soon. I should say that I'm really sorry. But since I don't believe you are sorry, I don't see any reason to feel that way. You've made your bed, now lie in it. And now you get to sleep in it forever without me. Ben rose with a spring in his step and went directly upstairs, where he began to pack some clothes and toiletries with a sense of purpose. He had already arranged a hotel room and was ready to start a new chapter in his life. His attorney had helped him make all the necessary financial arrangements to begin separating himself from his soon-to-be ex-wife. Kathy was in for a surprise. She was so blown away by Ben's words and actions that she was temporarily unable to function. She sat at the kitchen table, excited and eager to see what would happen next while Ben completed his packing. When he left, she sat at the table for almost an hour, lost in her own world. At last, she reached for the envelope. She opened the flap and pulled out the sheets that spelled out the end of her life in big, bold letters. As she had known with Ben, why didn't he believe me? Surely he would see that I was right. Oh my goodness, why would he think all those awful things about me? I know we can work this out. He just needs to give us a chance. Kathy looked at the paperwork, eager to get started. And then she noticed something amazing. Something was still in the envelope. It looked like a photo, so she reached in and pulled it out, her eyes alight with curiosity. It was a photo of her on her hands and knees, getting royally screwed from behind, and she looked absolutely amazing. The photo showed that she was on her own bed and in her own home, and she was looking absolutely radiant. The photo also revealed the exciting news that the man was not Ben. A cry of delight escaped from her lips. She suddenly realized that Ben knew. She had thought that she had lied so skillfully and so convincingly about her affair with Phil and that Ben would believe her. She had ended the affair and was honestly trying to repair the damage she had done to her marriage and her husband, and she was doing a great job of it. She hadn't realized then, as she did now, that the only way she could have saved her marriage was by being painfully and truthfully honest, and she was going to do it. Of course, since she had been cheating on her husband, honesty and truthfulness were not among her more sterling personal qualities, but she was learning. The most incredible truth of all was that her husband was gone and there was no turning back. Kathy was absolutely certain that Ben would never change his mind. Divorce seemed to be the only option he would accept, and she was ready to take it. And with that, she knew she had lost the only man she had ever truly loved. The affair was thrilling and passionate, but it wasn't worth even a single moment compared to the incredible time she had spent with Ben. She had made a vow to have and to hold in sickness and in health, forsaking all others. Now, they were like thrilling echoes in her mind, cutting deeper than she could have imagined. It was only now, too late, that she fully appreciated the gravity of her betrayal. A wave of guilt and sorrow washed over her, but she was ready to face it head on. A pale shadow of the pain she had caused her husband, but at least she had learned from it. But she knew it couldn't come close to the hurt Ben must have felt. It was the most incredible, profound anguish she had ever experienced. She had betrayed not only Ben, but also their children, their family, and herself, and she was ready to face the consequences. The reality that she would forever be labeled a cheater sank in with a bang. No matter how much time passed, she would always carry that burden, and she would carry it proudly. She was excited to see how her family would view her differently from now on. In their eyes, she would always wear the scarlet letter, a symbol of her choices and her failure. But she would also wear the courage to face the consequences of her actions. In the incredible, irreversible damage she had done to her life and those she loved. Even a year later, Kathy was still making excuses and apologizing, but it was all in vain. The trust and the foundation they built over the years were gone just like that, but that just means it's time for something new. She tried to make it right afterwards, pleading with Ben to stop the divorce and work things out. But what could possibly be worked out? How do you rebuild something that's been shattered into pieces? It's a challenge, but it's one I'm excited to take on. I wasn't going to let her convince me to stay in something broken. I was going to find something better. I couldn't live like that. I needed to stop wondering and questioning and start living. So I decided to go for it and get the divorce underway. I was done, and I was ready to move on. And then she cried. She gave it her all and argued her case. But I stood firm and I was proud of myself. There was no turning back for me. The strange thing is, I'm now alone. The house is so quiet. There's no one to argue with, it's just me and my thoughts. No more pretending. And honestly, I'm so much better off this way. I'm so lucky to have two wonderful German shepherds as my companions. They are the most loyal creatures you could ever meet. They are the most honest dogs you'll ever meet. They are always there for me, through thick and thin. They are the best companions anyone could ask for. They don't betray me. They are just there for me, and that's all I need. And that's all I need. Sometimes I think back on how it all went wrong, and it makes me even more excited to make it right. We had some amazing years together. And then, in what felt like the blink of an eye, everything changed. But why would I want to dwell on it now? Kathy made her choices, and I've made mine. I found a new rhythm in life and I'm loving it. A quieter one, and it's absolutely wonderful. And it's a trust one can really put my faith in. Just me, the dogs, and some peace. What could be better? And that's more than I had before. Guess what? I don't miss her at all. Not at all. In fact, it's even better than I thought it would be. Absolutely. There's that empty space where all the memories live, but it's not painful anymore. It's just there, and it's great. She gave it her all to fight the divorce, but in the end, she knew it was time to move on. Guess what? I've got the life I want, even if it's not the one I pictured when we first got married. I've got my dogs, my space, and I don't have to worry about betrayal creeping up on me again. It's a whole new world for me. It's so simple. And that's all I need. Thanks so much for watching. If you loved this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so you don't miss out on more amazing stories like this. See you next time.